Hello, I'm back with another slight rant video today because I read an opinion piece recently which really annoyed me for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it's not a personal attack on me, but it is sneering down at me as a group of people. And also, I think it exhibits a kind of literary snobbery that I really detest. I am someone who loves reading, I love discussing books with other readers, but I have always found it really frustrating, this sense of superiority and entitlement and snobbery, which manifests in some literary circles, whether they are academics or publishers or critics or just amongst general readers, this sense that we know good books and you don't. We are the tastemakers and you don't really understand what you're reading. I find that attitude so frustrating and elitist and exclusionary, and it makes me so annoyed. I did a master's degree in studies in fiction, and I encountered a lot of this there at that university. It was a great experience in a lot of ways, but it made me not want to stay in academia at all, and it's why throughout my life I've been more active online, talking with other readers and just talking about what we enjoy, what we didn't enjoy, and all of that good stuff. So the opinion piece I read recently was in The Guardian by Emma Brox, and with the title, "Should I Care What Sarah Jessica Parker Thinks About Books?" And yes, of course, this title and this article is meant to be slightly inflammatory, and yes, it has got me annoyed. So to deal with this first point, where I feel like it was sneering down at me and some other people who were at the Booker Prize, she comments at the very beginning about the spectacle of various literary people at the Booker Prize award ceremony jamming themselves into photos alongside Sarah Jessica Parker. And because I did have the wonderful experience of meeting Sarah Jessica Parker at the Booker Prize ceremony, which I really didn't anticipate would happen. When I went to the ceremony, I thought, well, maybe I will get a chance to say hello to her amongst a group, but I assumed that she was just going to be surrounded by other people the entire time. And so when I had the opportunity to speak with her and take a picture with her, of course, I took that opportunity. I think very few people wouldn't, unless they have real issues and attitudes about Sarah Jessica Parker, which I don't see why you would. but yeah, and just I feel like this is so ungenerous and mean that everyone was trying to jam themselves into photos with her. She very generously was taking pictures with people, and naturally me and other bookish people who spend 95% of our time just sat at home reading, of course we were so excited to meet an actor. And firstly, I was so excited to meet her because I've been watching Sarah Jessica Parker as an actor throughout my entire life, since my childhood, and watching Flight of the Navigator. That's one of the first films that I ever remember watching, and she was in that film playing quite a cool character. And then later, when I first moved to London, me and my flatmates, we would watch Sex and the City every week together as episodes came out, so watching her there in this group. And then in more recent years of watching the film, the Christmas film, The Family Stone, with a group of gay friends and I, and it's a really moving, lovely, funny movie. Yes, it's a bit silly, but yeah, we find ourselves crying every year watching it, and I think it'll be even more emotional this year with the passing of Diane Keaton, who is so spectacular in the film. And so yeah, she's sort of been there in my life for as long as I can remember, and now meeting her in real life, not just meeting her, but talking with her about books. And the fact that she recognized me, I was so flattered and over the moon about that when I saw she was talking in a group of some people in the group I knew. So I thought, oh, here's my chance. I can go say hello to them and hopefully get the chance to say hi to Sarah Jessica. And when I got in this group and said hello to my friend, Sarah was the one that turned to me and said, oh, it's you, Eric. And then she turned to her friend and said, this is the guy that I've been telling you about. So think about how I completely melted and flipped out. And I think I kept my cool, but it was such an extraordinary experience to have her recognize me in this way, someone that I've been watching for my entire life. And then we proceeded to have a conversation about books for a good 20 minutes. We really talked a lot about all the books on the long list, and she discussed some of the points that I made in my videos about the book. So I knew that she had actually watched my videos, rather than just seeing like a thumbnail or seeing a picture of me and saying, oh, here's a guy that's talking about the book. Or no, she really watched them and engaged with them. So that was so incredibly flattering and wonderful. And so to kind of sneer at bookish people at the Booker ceremony wanting to meet Sarah Jessica and talk with her about books, well, that's just snobby and maybe a bit jealous as well. And so then she goes on in the piece to talk about and I'll put a link to this article below if you want to read the opinion piece for yourself. But basically she goes on about how she takes slight issue with celebrities starting book clubs and posing with books in their photos and in a sexy way, and she begrudgingly admits that, oh, of course, this is generally good for books, but and she says she doesn't want to be a downer, but she's just getting a bit tired of this, and the issue she's taking with it is more this stylistic choice of feeling like, oh, we need to make reading sexy in order to get more people to read and appeal to a wide range of readers. And of course, I have slightly raised my eyebrow at the rise of celebrity book club culture and instances of performative reading amongst the booktube, bookstagrammer, book talk community, especially in book talk, I think, and feel like, oh, well, this is just trying to jump on a trend rather than really engaging with these books in a meaningful way. But I feel like, and I've always felt like, well, the only person that is really doing themselves a disservice if this reading is performative, then is to the reader themselves. They are spending so much time making content about books rather than actually reading them. And I know this is a criticism that's been made about me as well, even though I spend so much of my time reading. And yeah, it's difficult to strike a balance between reading and then sharing that love of reading and wanting to discuss it with other readers. But personally, I see that as part of the reading process, and I think especially if you're a celebrity who has a busy schedule and you just but really enjoy reading, as I know Sarah Jessica Parker really genuinely does enjoy reading, then why wouldn't they just share a picture or fit some books that have been personally meaningful to her into the TV show that she's so popular for performing in, then that's just a kind of gesture of saying, oh, here's a book that you might want to try reading. And if readers pick up that book just because that celebrity has endorsed it, then yeah, isn't that a good thing? And if celebrities are endorsing bad books, or if book influencers are endorsing bad books, well, then the readers watching those videos, and if they take up those reading suggestions, then they will quickly learn that and probably stop taking reading suggestions from those figures and look for their recommendations elsewhere. And I know, I've found that there are certain book critics I enjoy following, and there are certain book critics I do not enjoy following. And that is especially true. I made a whole video once reacting to a review of Jan Mungo by Douglas Stewart, a review that I thought was really both mean-spirited and just a badly written review. I feel like the point of book reviews is to convey a sense of what that book is about, what that book was trying to achieve, and then saying whether it actually achieved that or not. Whereas I felt like this review was just like, oh, this book is a failure, and I'm not going to really tell you anything about the actual content or meaning of the book, but just say that it's a failure. And I thought that was so rude and such a disservice. And there are also celebrity figures and book influencers whose opinion and reading tastes are not suited to my own. And so I just don't follow those reading suggestions. But then there are other readers who will pick up a book and try reading and whose tastes do gel more with those literary tastes. And so I feel like that the author of this think piece feels that her opinions, because she is a professional literary critic, that her opinions are above basically anyone else's. But I think you get critics with good taste and critics with bad tastes. And I'm definitely glad that there are professional book critics out there. And no, I don't think book critics should have to make their reading sexy in order to get people to listen to their opinions. But I feel like book criticism has always been a niche amongst book lovers that that the general wider population probably isn't going to come across some random review of a new book and then suddenly be turned on to reading, and that it's much more likely to happen when you have a celebrity figure like Sarah Jessica Parker or Jack Edwards who will post pictures of a book and talk about how genuinely passionate they are about that book. And I don't think that opinion is made any less valuable just because that it might be an actor who has spent their entire life building up a professional career and in entirely other fields that doesn't have to do with books or reading. That doesn't invalidate that their opinion as a reader. And so the second part that I really bristled against was at the very end of this opinion piece when she comments that perhaps we can say yay to celebrity book clubs while reserving the right to find them faintly ludicrous, examples of people who insist on letting us know what they think about everything with a confidence entirely untainted by expertise. And this is part of that snobbery, I think, of that we are the experts, we are the people you should be listening to, not celebrities. And I can understand how critics would get frustrated that a celebrity posting an Instagram picture about a book will get a lot more attention than their 2,000 word review of that book. But the readers who will actually read that book, however they came to it, I mean, they're going to form their own opinions about it. And they might see that book differently based on the celebrity's endorsement or an in-depth review that really gets into the content of it, or not. But that reader will still have their own opinions, and it just so frustrates me that this kind of elitism and snobbery about books that we are the ones that understand it. And so I can't help feeling that this opinion piece was partly motivated by jealousy that Sarah Jessica Parker was chosen as a Booker judge rather than this book critic. And the Booker Prize, I think, has been trying to balance this thing over the years of widening the appeal of their prize while still staying true to wanting to reward excellence in literature and true excellence. And they have always made, or certainly in recent years, their panels of judges have been a mixture of lots of people. There's Chris Powers on the judge, who's a writer and a professional literary critic, as well as Sarah Jessica Parker. And in past years, yeah, they have also had scientists and musicians and a whole range of professions in the mix of judges, I think, to keep the prize lists refreshing and up to date and diverse, and to gather a whole range of opinions. But something I think all of the judges always share, I mean, you'd have to if you're going to go in and read 150 or whatever books for judging the prize, are real readers and readers that are passionate about books and want to share their love of them. And I don't think it does any service to the book community to sneer at anyone who is making book recommendations. You can, like me, when I see content makers and celebrities and book critics whose opinions don't gel with my own, whose literary tastes I don't agree with, I just move on and I follow other people's book recommendations, and I think that's totally fine, and I think that's what we should all be doing. So yes, that's my little rant. I would love to know what you think of this opinion piece and any of the thoughts or issues that I've raised in this video. And yes, this is another chance for me to brag about meeting Sarah Jessica Parker, but it was honestly such a thrilling experience. So of course I want to brag about it. Can you blame me? But thank you for watching me go off again, and I hope you're doing well and reading good things, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.